All right, let's call the Blanco County Commissioners Court to order this Tuesday, March the 8th, 2022. Asking Ms. Wallace to call the roll.
Judge Gray.
Here.
Commissioner Weir. Commissioner Baker.
Here.
Commissioner Leisman.
Here.
Commissioner Reyes.
Here. Please join us in the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for the invocation. Pastor O'Brien.
Father, we thank you for this day. Before we ask you for anything, we want to say thank you for blessing us. Thank you for the United States of America. Thank you for blessing us because we live in Texas. Thank you for Blanco County. Now, God, we cry to you today for help, for guidance and for wisdom. Touch our world, touch especially the people of Ukraine today. Be with them. God, right here at home, there will be decisions made, discussions taking place that will affect lives and impact communities. We ask, we need your guidance desperately. I thank God for all who are willing to serve here today. Bless every elected official here today. Because you are involved in the government affairs of this nation, of this land, and our lives. We thank you. We pray you for good health. We pray you for those who are sick today, that they will be healed and touched. And most of all, God, we think that we can turn to you at times like right now. And we know you're there to help us and guide us. In Jesus' name, your son, we pray, and all together say, amen. God bless you. God bless you. Thank you so much, sir.
All right. No forms, public comment. Let's go on to item 5. Review of the minutes.
I'd like to make a motion to dispense with the reading of the minutes and to approve the minutes as presented.
Is there a second?
I'll say.
Commissioner, for discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 6, the estimated payroll for March.
I'll make a motion to approve the estimated March 2022 payroll in the amount of $364,456.94.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Granberg, discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. I can report to you that all of the official reports have been submitted and are in the file and subject to your approval.
I'll make a motion to approve the official reports as presented.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Rear, discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. There are no line item transfers for you to consider this month or this meeting under item 8. Moving to item 9 for the outstanding bills.
So Judge, we received the MasterCard after we presented the bills to you all, and I would like to include the MasterCard in this amount of bills. So I make a motion to approve the outstanding bills in the amount of $187,943.29 and include the MasterCard in the amount of $6,386.88.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Commissioner Eager, discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item 10, Mr. Flagg, if you share it forward and update us on what activities.
Morning, Judge, Commissioners, and thank you for this opportunity to speak to you about the Country 100 Club. The Country 100 Club covers 4 counties, Blanco, Burnet, Lano, Lampasas, and we support all first responders in those 4 counties. It includes 67 agencies, and I don't know how many actual first responders there are, but there's quite a few. We just had our 18th annual banquet last Thursday, and the judge was there to present one of the awards. Blanco County did pretty good. We had 6 Employee of the Year awards handed out and 2 meritorious awards. The meritorious award is one that's for those that are really above and outstanding and life-saving, and our sheriff was one of the recipients of that. We've been in existence since 2001. We have roughly 430 members in our club, and I am the chairman of the board this year, 3rd year running. So, and the banquet, we had several people there. There were about 250 people served barbecue. We had 3 presentations. One presentation from Ms. Don Davies from the Hill Country Alliance about the upcoming eclipses in 2023 and 2024. And then the district attorney, Sonny McAfee, gave a talk on fentanyl and its impact on the Hill Country at this point. And then we had Ms. Meza, Christina Meza. We gave her a benefit 2 years ago when her husband died in line of duty, and she explained how the Hill Country Women's Club had affected her life, and we're still a part of her life. If she needs anything, we're there to help her. That's pretty much in a nutshell.
Okay, so while I have you, just in case if anybody is out there on YouTube or gonna report this, I'm just gonna go through the awardees from Blanco County.
Okay.
So you had Brandy Rose, who was the emergency personnel field medic of the year. Isidro Rodriguez, the Blanco Police Department and Blanco County Officer of the Year. You had Chris Leach, the Deputy Chief of, I guess he is firefighter, firefighter of the year. Tim Kruger is the Field Medic of the Year. Tiger Rafferty is the Fire Chief at Round Mountain, and he got Firefighter of the Year. And then Mr. Patrick Fisher in the back of the room, as Constable, got Blanco County Precinct 1 Officer of the Year for the county. And then, under the meritorious awards, which are kind of a big deal at this event, they go through the stories of why these people are getting these awards, and some of them are startling. They're impressive. Yes, they're impressive. Impressive to say the least. And our own Jimmy Fox, I wish I had gotten him to be here today. Sergeant Fox of the Blanco County Sheriff's Office received one, and I won't go into a lot of the details, but he definitely put himself in harm's way. And it was heroic. And then there's one that's not on here on the list, and you asked me to come make the award, and I don't know how in a small community like this it was kept quiet or not, it was a secret, but our own Sheriff Jackson got an award. And, I won't take time to go into all of the details, but he definitely distinguished himself as a search and rescue individual, and better than search dog, I guess.
Yeah, that was impressive.
Got better nose than search dog.
Right.
Anyway, and so thank you all for helping Blanco County to get represented and to be honored to win the award. Yeah, I'll just say one more thing personally, and then I'll shut up. But what was the lady's name that made the presentation, the keynote speaker?
Well, it was Christina Mason.
And as she was standing there and giving her address, and she had a little, I don't know, 4 or 5-year-old daughter.
I think she's 5 years.
There she was, standing there next to her. it kind of puts a lump in your throat. And I leaned forward to, my wife and said, don't ever let me groan or grouse about writing that check again for Bill 5100. Because you forget, you know, when you're just at home, you're in the comfort of your own home, with your own normal life, how some people have been affected and what Bill 5100 does for them. So it was a great presentation, and thank you for reminding me.
Thank you. And 2 years ago, when she received the benefit, I gave her the plaque, and she had her daughter with her, Mia, her name. And she reached up and grabbed my hand, and I almost went to my knees. So it was a very emotional time.
I can imagine. All right, well, thank you for all the work that you do.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity.
We should have seen you.
Any questions? Thank you. Thank you. Can you move this back?
Well, we got one. So, I think that takes us to item 11. All right.
Yes.
So you have Mr. Vacation with the Texas Association of Counties in the Risk Control Services Division Department. To talk to you today.
Yes, folks, it's my name is Blair Picasso, and I am the risk control consultant for this territory. Actually, I've got 62 counties that I deal with. And that book that I gave you is just kind of an overview of the risk control services that we offer. The training that I offer in particular is on page 19, it's towards the end of the book. It's more focused on road and bridge. David Wynas is my counterpart. He works with law enforcement. Sharon is our new HR lady. She works with Camille and whoever else. But I provide the on-site training for road and bridge. We also have summit training, which is online training. And we actually have a new source, which is called AP Safety. And basically that one is it's a DVD rental to do on-site trainings yourselves. TAC used to maintain its own audiovisual library, but our VCR cassettes were getting kind of old and outdated, so it's kind of hard to find a VCR these days. So we gave it up and went with AP Safety. Anyway, just something that I know it's been a while. I do quite a bit of training, accident investigation training, all the CDL, drug and alcohol training, the new clearinghouse issue with the road and bridge CDL drivers. And effective February 7th, about a month ago, the new federal regulation on entry-level driver training went into effect. So if you have a new person that doesn't have a CDL, they can go to DPS and take the written tests, the general knowledge, the air brakes, the liquids, the tankers, and all that stuff. But before they can actually take the driving test, they have to go to a private school and take 156 hours of training. And it varies from anywhere from $3,000 to $7,000 per person. So finding CDL drivers in the very near future is going to be hard to do. So I'm here to help you. If you have any questions, I'd be glad to field.
So is this kind of making a sales pitch? He said, I think these are no cost to the county.
They are free, yes.
So it's kind of a sales pitch to get us more.
Part of your coverage, yeah.
Is there anything that caused you to, or caused TAC to think that, I believe you already requested the opportunity to make this presentation. Is there anything that we?
Well, periodically at the beginning of the year, we look at claims. And we do claims analysis on our different counties. And you popped up on that analysis. There is one large workers' comp claim that caused it. I mean, I've been in this rep for this county since 2000, I guess. And you guys hardly ever had workers' comp claims. So one big claim is what has caused this. But that got our attention.
I'm not sure I know the details, so don't want to get into them here, but if I'm thinking of the same one, it's been going on for some time, has it not?
It's about 3 years, 2 to 3 years. The way TAC does workers' comp, it's a 4-year look back. So for this year, we don't look at 2021, we look at 2018, 19, and 17. And then next year, 2020.
Yeah. And you're more on the road and bridge side, you know, for example, so you're not, as far as officer safety or even training for officer driving, that's not your area.
Yeah, that's it. And we actually have the driving simulator still for law enforcement. That one is still out. And we're looking at next year is to a new simulator where it's a bigger trailer and has a road and bridge and a law enforcement cab in it.
So you used to have a road bridge simulator, because we've had it here.
Yeah, in fact, I operated it years ago. So yeah, it's reached the usefulness of its life. How's that? I think it's probably about 6 years old, but it's traveled many Texas mile. So,
It might not be any relevance to you, but last week, Commissioner Leisman orchestrated and commissioners participated, all the commissioners participated and all their staff. We got a week-long road grader training, you know, road graders got this piece of equipment there to operate. We had a week-long road grader training session.
So was
hands-on too.
Was that through University of Texas at Arlington?
Teams.
Okay, very good. We were working with UTA this year to bring out some of their courses too. Kendall County is one of mine, and Don Evans, who is their road and bridge administrator. I can't tell you how many of those courses that let these guys go to. Backhoes, front end loaders, motor graders, whole things. And it's hands-on training.
In this county, people wear multiple hats sometimes, and the county treasurer is what I know is the HRO, Human Resources Officer. And so I assume that you have regular contact with her.
I do. I talk with Camille often. So, yeah. And we've talked about CDL drug testing and things like that, and clearinghouse issues. And these are all federal regulations that the county has to apply and abide by. Yeah.
Is there any plans for TAC to provide the CDL training through some of their courses, or it's got to be through a private?
I don't foresee that. Just because of the length, you know, we're talking, it's a month of training, 156 hours. It's huge. We're still talking about it.
So these classes here are several of them multi-days, they're 2 or 3 day long.
Most of my classes, outside of the defensive driving for road and bridge, and then the safety square, most of my classes are about an hour long. So I come out first thing in the morning and get the guys before they go out on the road and do the training and boom.
So you do it on site?
Yeah, I come to you.
That's what I was going to ask you, whether or not, because some of these classes are in Kerrville or Wrangley.
No, I would physically come here. So, yeah. Like I said, it's been a while since we've done it, so that's kind of why I wanted to do this.
One more question for me, and based on what you and Commissioner were talking about. Do you like really smaller classes, or is it okay to combine a county with another county? Or?
I've done it both ways. I mean, I've trained 5 to 105. If we can get more than one county, that'd be great.
Sometimes the commissioner partner with Gillespie or from
Sure.
whatever.
In fact, I'm actually training in Gillespie County later this month, I think it is. That was one of the reasons I was close, and I thought, well, I'll stop in and do a sales pitch to you.
So if there's extra space there,
Yeah, absolutely. I can call Dana and see if she's got some room.
How do you find your schedule?
You just tell me what fits with y'all. And
I'm out this weekend, what's going on there?
I'm doing the safety square. And the safety square is one of my cohorts who developed it. It talks about back injuries, slips and falls, personal protective equipment, and defensive driving. And those are the top 4 claims that the TACR sees in workers' comp. So it addresses those claims. They're 30-minute sessions, so they're quick, nobody gets bored. We can go through fast and run. So yeah, I can definitely see if she gets some room.
thank you.
Great, you're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Turning to item 12 on the agenda, Mr. Jones. We can talk about bids for the South Annex. I believe we reviewed this portion last time and talked about it and asked you to go out and try to get them to give us a kind of best and final offer.
Yes,
On the top 3 bidders.
correct. All our top 3 bidders, North Star Construction, Kendall, Casper, Fleet, were contacted. And we just basically asked, was this your best and final offer? We also asked for them to develop a list, an alternative list for possible value engineered items to either look at for substitution of equal products. That might save some construction dollars, but the big one was, could you save us construction time by looking at alternative products? So the revised,
And just to repeat ourselves, one of the reasons construction time is important is we would like to have the facility complete in time for November voting, actually October early voting.
yes, sir, correct. Yeah, because we had a wide range of basically 70 to 75 days difference between bidders in construction. So we're looking at a 2.5 month difference in time. So that is a huge factor. And especially with the way things are today, the 2.5 months may end up being 3 or 3.5 months. So starting yesterday, kind of late afternoon, our top 3 bidders started kind of feeding me some information. So North Star out of Broncos, their construction bid price did not change, but they did offer some value engineering savings. And what I'll have to, I wish I put a little asterisk by this, so I can kind of caveat it. Their construction day reduction is tied to the value engineering items. So if we keep their base bid as it is, the construction time is still the 175 days. If we move to Kendall Casper, their revised bidding was just about $2,600 difference, going lower. Construction days remain the same. They're the lowest at 105 days. Fleet Co. out of Fredericksburg, they revised their bid from $511,000 to $493,000. And their value engineering days were originally, they were set at 150, and their reduction to 120 days, again, is tied to some value engineering items that I didn't necessarily agree with. So, but their pricing remained the same. They were still going to be at $493 reduced, best and final offer, 150 days of construction.
Was it Kimball Casper or was it North Star that proposed value engineering by using a different air conditioner?
Actually, all three offer different types of equipment. And again, there's some trade-off in looking at potentially all three bidders with regard to what they were offering as some cost savings, because they were also tied to material delivery. That's where we were seeing construction days reduce. Kimball Casper is bidding exactly what was in the project. It matches everything in the existing building. They were the original contractors, and they're still maintaining for 105 days. They did have a good list of things to value engineer, but I said we can get into that if they are selected to do the project. But from the standpoint of equal, apple to apple, so that's what we're seeing.
So I'm going to stop and throw it open to commissioners. Let me just ask you, we pay you to design and draw and spec out a project.
Yes, sir.
And then we pay you to back end to manage, oversee, watchdog that project.
Yes,
And
sir.
in the middle, we ask you to have an opinion about your bid. And do you have any opinions for the commissioners?
You know, from the standpoint of, I always look at construction dollars, and I know most clients are worried about the bottom dollar. I also understand the necessity of timeliness and having a project delivered when the client needs it. So in looking at this, if time wasn't a factor, I would have no problems with North Star at all. The last, I'll say 2.5 weeks when the bids were received on the 17th of February, I did a vetting process and called everybody that were involved with all three of our bidders, and they all vetted out very, very well. So I have no qualms with either of the three companies to do the project and to give you a quality product. It's just a matter of when this project starts. I also anticipate that as we move forward in the next few months, we're probably going to have issues with delivery of materials or supply availability of materials. I do think a contractor that says that I can do something 2.5 to 3 months sooner is probably going to be advantageous in hopefully acquiring a better product in a more timely fashion, especially if we're looking at this project needs to be, I would say it needs to be completed by sometime in September for the building to basically be vetted out and shaken down, and everybody understands how all the systems operate so that it can be turned over for y'all, and especially with an election coming up. But also understand the timeliness that you have services that need to operate out of that building. It sounds like the more timely a project is completed, it's going to serve the county in a much better way. So I have no problems with going with Kimball Casper. I think the differences in value are going to probably equate to that we're going to pay more for having the project done sooner. But I also understand that they provided a great quality product to you a few years back, and know that they'll give you that product again. And in fact, I wish we had had something in our bidding that we had something in there about familiarity with working with this client, with y'all. That people who work with you and have worked with you in the past understand how you operate and understand a good working relationship.
Well, I'd like to, for one thing, I've kind of done the calculations on what month and when these different contractors would be finished. Now, their construction, by the time they're finished with it, doesn't mean that we will get the blessing from the city of Blanco or whatever to occupy the building or whatever. So it could run another month after that, I'm guessing. But we went through the last one, and I remember how it went all the way to the city inspector describing the parking lot, the whole thing. So
Yes, sir.
I can understand that might possibly extend it a little bit more, if not by a couple of weeks, maybe a month or better. I noticed that some of the contract, North Star, for instance, to reduce some of their time, they changed products.
Yes.
From party board to product. I know that I'm very familiar with the party board product, and a lot of the local builders use it, commercial contracts, and that's what's on that building. So that alarms me a little bit to change the product to shave time. Now, they probably know the availability of the product and the time constraints on whether or not you can get them. So I do understand that, but they're changing some pretty major things, such as insulation.
Yes.
And they're, instead of having foam insulation, they're doing bats and other things, which again are different than the existing building. They have the integrity anyway, I don't think so, but it does change that.
Right, exactly, and that's, I looked at, we don't take their value engineering items, we're still back at them needing 175 calendar days to do the project versus the next second bidder is still putting everything in as per the project, doing it in 105 days. So we still have that 70-day.
Can I ask y'all, you said bats or bats?
Pad insulation versus
Is that the rolling kind or the laser kind or the spraying
That's
kind?
the road.
But it's on the ceiling, right? You don't put bats on the,
You can, it's more difficult, and that's where they would have to put it to be able to get the, what we're having to need, what we have to have for, use in the attic.
right,
So
but do we know,
you cannot get the same quality nor the same R value.
but do we know if that's what they intend?
I'm reading what you're,
Just if we accept the value engineering cost reductions.
yeah. Now, how they tell they suspended from the roof, I mean, I have no idea. The way that we've handled the existing building is that the rafters were shot with foam. So the whole bottom deck was clean in the insulation.
And basically it could be used like a room for storage and whatever.
And the new building is designed the same way. You have a whole open space in the attic for dry storage, storage of
Correct.
stuff like that.
And so one of the critical things is that the mechanical system is designed around having insulated systems on the bottom of the deck because of how they're bringing in fresh air and where the equipment is sitting is basically in a conditioned space. So they would have to provide some kind of equal quality for that. And that's just a lot of insulation. I don't know if we actually have all the room for it, but that's why, they have it as a separate line.
The way that the Kenneth Morgan was the one who built the first building, the way that they did that, it just turned out really nice. Another thing, I mean, if you look at the first North Star, it shows that they'll come in somewhere between mid-September and best.
Yes.
And then you're looking at Code, they're in August. And then you're looking at Kimball Casper coming in mid-June. Now, we dealt with Kimball Casper in the past. They came in ahead of time and below budget. So I was very impressed with that. And they gave us a construction chart from day one to the last day. watch that chart as they report it to us, and they hit that number every time, right to the name. Right, it was really impressive with it.
Yes.
So I like their work. I've seen it. We've dealt with the county. So to me, that means something.
I agree, and I think, if you looked at, any private business, there is value in being able to, if you're moving into a business that is opening up to earn money, that getting in sooner means you're gonna be earning more money sooner, faster. And you can offset those additional costs because of that. So I think, the fact that, you do have services that are provided and you meet the needs of the public and you have an election coming up, I think you're probably gonna be better going with someone that can have a shorter construction timeframe to help offset.
They're not changing the materials, Steve.
Correct, they're not changing
They're
that.
sticking with what we spent out.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, part of it, just to interrupt, but part of the premise of the project that went out to bid is that it matches what we currently have. There's nothing new, did not reinvent the wheel, it's all the same type of systems, everything integrates and works together. So we just felt like that was probably the most simple, so that everybody that comes and works in that building knows how everything's gonna work, knows how it's gonna operate, knows how it'll function. Same type of materials, not changing any of those things, so
lighting, air conditioning.
lighting, the air conditioning system's all the same. So yes, Kendall Casper was keeping it as is. Most everybody offered, some value engineering on changing all those systems up. He said, that would be for y'all to decide, but, right now, we want to keep it as is.
It's hard to believe that in the last 3 or 4 years, we haven't figured out something that we could have done better. We could have said everything is as is, or maybe value engineer to it, listed for a different quality. It's hard to believe that we didn't find something, I don't know, LED lights or something that don't like what we did last time that we would like to improve.
Well, the LED lighting has changed, but it's keeping with the types of systems that you already have. The mechanical systems have higher energy ratings because things have changed. We push the industry that direction. But as far as equipment, say manufacturer, it's a carrier unit, it's a carrier unit going in, or it's a terrain, it's a terrain. The lighting system, the control system is the same, identical. Flooring is identical, paint's gonna be the same. Your window systems and door frames, doors are all gonna be the same. Because all those companies are still in making the same products. So it's just keeping similarity as best as possible.
Do you recall how much under budget? You said they were on time or under
They
budget?
were before, they came in earlier, and they were below budget, you wouldn't have any idea. I was thinking it was $10,000 to $15,000. I'm guessing it's been a while back, but I was surprised. Because we had some bad weather there, we had some different things going on. It all worked out. But they have a list of all of the keys, how the key for every office, all the colors, the exterior colors, rock, all the rock where they got it, all of that. So I do believe there's some value to that, but now what is it worth?
$90,000.
No.
What?
So the question, I guess, is it worth, if you don't do the value savings, you're at 84,000, that's the difference. So if you do the value savings, you're at 100,000. So no, I do agree, I don't like the bad installation, I'd rather have the plumbing installation or the phone installation, as opposed to the past. Now, carrier is carrier, so as long as we're using the proper sear, the proper, and the existing LEDs, lights in there are LEDs, so you're staying with LEDs. Not a lot of change. Today's changes are, most of them are now selectable as far as your colors you can do, but nothing really going to change. With this talking a little bit about voting. However, the voting that takes place down there takes place in the front room of that facility, correct?
Yes.
So it would not impact the voting that's gonna happen there anyway. I mean, except for it's a construction site. So the back side of it is gonna have construction, which hopefully will not impact the front side. So
Does that mean-
offices are gonna stay, we're not moving out of the building. Our offices are gonna stay remain in the tax assessor collector. Our office is gonna remain the same, open one day a week until the new section is built, so. I have a hard time keeping 84,000 to get, to get a little bit better time. So my vote would be for motion.
Okay. I appreciate it.
Well, I don't know, Kendall Casper did a good job. Very happy with their. But, I guess, like you said, comparing apples to apples, it's not, there's other contractor, in your opinion, very capable of doing the work.
Absolutely, all three are very capable of doing the product, we need a good outcome.
So I think, I'll be best to go with the savings.
I go with North Star on the price.
Somebody needs to make a motion.
So I make a motion that we, I make a motion that we accept the bid of North Star, construction out of New Braunfels for the bids for the South Annex Addition project and recommend them to the builder. And I would like to say that on the savings side of it, if we can agree to specific savings, like, if it's, this type of window compared to this type of window, but they look the same, if there's a savings for that will speed up the process, I'm all in favor of that. But, you have the revised price at $386,000. So I would like to make that mention.
Can I mention one thing though? As far as the savings with North Star, I would still like to stay with the party plan. There's still that much.
Correct.
So, very good.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm willing to, go to the maximum of 386,000 as proposed in the revised pricing. So, but if there's savings, engineering savings that you can look at, and you can say that they're compatible, that, that we're not losing anything, then I'd be willing to do that, with, either cost savings and or time savings.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Discussion. Okay, I am a little confused because the original bid says $386,900 for 175-day construction time. And then the revised one says $386,000, which is only a reduction of $900, but it says that possible savings of $16,206.
Correct. Those were, interrupting, those were on value engineered items that they offered. So changing from Hardy Plank Siding to another supplier. They were also looking at some different truss manufacturers to expedite fabrication and timeframe.
So if I were to vote in favor of Commissioner Leesman's motion at the $386,000 mark, That includes the stuff they originally bid on, not the value engineering.
Correct, yeah, the 386 is as drawn, as
They just sharpened their pencil $900.
correct.
Right.
And just to, it's clarified, value engineering items are for the county to look at, review. It's your choice if you want to select something to reduce value. Or a couple of his items weren't reducing value, but they were reducing availability time to get something in. And that's how they trading off construction time with product availability. That's for y'all to look at, review, understand, and accept.
And as much as some of us like the product that Kendall Casper puts out, this number of North Star fits pretty nicely with the number that you originally projected.
Yes, sir, correct.
Months and months ago before price increases.
Yes.
One more thing, I think there will be, I don't have a problem with it, because we fine. I've had to work around construction before, and I'm sure you have, we all have. So that's just the way it's gonna be, and voters will have to just accept that, but I think it will be a little more complicated because of that closing that front porch. The whole idea was to make that climate control another place for voters to be able to get out of the weather, but it will be in flux at that point. I'm accepting that if we go with North Star, the facility is going to be a mess. Kind of the last 2 weeks, like that. And that's just okay. That's the way it's going to be. We need to accept that. We can squeeze it back in on the time. That's the way I will be. Anything else? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. So you have your direction.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
And thank you so much for doing it.
Absolutely.
Moving to item 13, and if you look at item 14, I'm sorry. Okay, 13, there is a proposed opioid settlement as early as prepared to share the costs with you. I'm sorry, both of the I'm sorry, on 14, on 13, do we have, is, we're still trying to do, Steve Perry, who is our financial consultant, is out of pocket, and his associate is going to be prepared by Zoom to visit with you deeply. But I think you can see from the, you have the attachment, basically the bottom line is, we've reached the point in time where we can do refunding. You can't just do it every month, you have to wait a period of time. We now can do some refunding of the strictest obligation from the ways back and potentially save roughly $130,000 by doing so. And so that's the proposal that Mr. Perry and his company have put forward. His last name is
Mr. Kellner, can you please?
Hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Good morning. Do you want us say anything?
Good morning. Good morning. We're having.
I think he's getting feedback.
Mr. Kellner, turn your speakers down if you're getting feedback.
No, I'm not getting feedback.
Okay, well, you're on with the quote.
Okay, good morning, good morning, Judge. Okay, hang on just a second. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right, I'm gonna turn my speakers down a little bit. And I don't know that I am getting feedback now. Good morning, Judge Gray. I apologize for technical issues that we're having this morning. And Connie and I have been working diligently, and she certainly has been trying to get me across. I can see me on my page here, but I can't see the courtroom or anything else, and I suspect you all can't see me either. What we're here to discuss, and I'm sure, hopefully your bond counsel is there. Is that a yes?
Yes, it turns out they are here.
And I'm sure that they're going to discuss with you everything in regards to the order authorizing the refunding bond. These are the 2012 bond. Steve Perry and I worked with Judge Guthrie back in 2012 in getting these two bonds. One is a certificate of obligation, and one is a tax revenue and a CO. And these are due now. They are payable in August. So this would be a current refunding. And I think in the bond, I don't have the bond resolution here in front of me. However, I believe that on the resolution it calls for at least a 1% present value savings. You should have in front of you a debt service comparison. And on that debt service comparison, it gives the next 8 years. This year included through 2029. And on the lower right-hand side of that page, it gives your savings. This year, 2022, you should have about a $13,000 savings. And then it goes up from there, 18, 17, 15, like that, for a total of about $130,000 savings of what's left to pay on those two bonds, 2012 bonds. Rates are all over the place right now. And since this is a current refunding, and we can go ahead and get started on it in April, since it matures in August, you can back up 90 days and we can start on this. Our recommendation would be to get whatever you can get right now because you're on the last 8 years of these two bonds. So if there are no questions, I don't have really anything else that your bond attorney, your bond counsel is not going to share with you. So unless there are questions that I might answer at this time, I'll just be quiet and let your bond counsel go through everything that they need to go through.
Thank you. He has stepped to the podium, so let's hear from him.
Thank you. Just for the record, my name is Mark Falcon, with Paul Parker, and board is pleasure to serve on council. It's been also been here since good seeing you all again. Just to be very brief, the ordinance in front of you tonight, it does give effect to everything that was just discussed. It just went over. It is a delegation order to refund some of your outstanding debt for savings. The minimum savings order is 1%. As mentioned, the maximum principal amount of bonds that you can refund is $5 million, which is sufficient to cover what the scale was contemplated. Those two serious outstanding debt to refund those in their entirety if possible. This is a delegation, so the sale is not happening today. The sale will happen in March, right? We're ready to move forward. You have two delegated pricing officers. They can give effect to pricing, only the county auditor or the county judge. Who is available on that particular day. Can give effect to the pricing if the parameters from that 1% savings threshold has to be met, or you can't do the sale. It also has to be done, that the 1% plus the $5 million maximum. And then also has to go within 6 months of today if you approve this order. if 6 months pass and market goes away from you, you can't get those savings. You can obviously redo the order, have another one in effect for the following 6 months. But you have 6 months from today to assume the market's going to work out in your favor and refund bonds for those savings for your taxpayers. The other things we get into, if you'd like to discuss the order itself, that's really the high points, $5 million maximum, 1% savings, and 2 pricing officers. All 3 of those things can be adjusted if you'd like to consider making any changes. I think it's pretty customary to have those types of things in place for long variations with them. But if you want to discuss it, have a question, we can join talk about that. Again, happy to get in more detail if you want. That's a high level overview of what's being considered today.
So, just to summarize it for me, as it's presented, it's almost a no-brainer. It's a savings over the next 8 years of a few dollars, reduces the INS tax necessary to pay on this bond or bonds, and it's while it's not locked in, it's authorization. If it works out right to have it happen this way. If we can't have it happen this way, we don't do it.
That's exactly right. And the people sometimes consider increasing the minimum savings. Right now, and this is something that wasn't else can speak to better than me, but with the rising interest rate environment, you want whatever savings you can get right now. In 6 months, we expect the increase to be quite a bit higher. How much, as you can guess, again, your financial knowledge, you talk about that when you need. But that's why you do this type of approach where you have it on the sale, you can market at the right time, as quickly as we can, or if you market it away one day, wait till the next day. Using flexibility to be able to do just what you said, save your taxpayers money.
And the reason you're here now is because we can't do this. You have to wait a period of time, and we've now waited a proper period of time, and now we can refund.
That's right. You're saying that it has to be, you can't refund it for a certain period of time. When I was purchasers of that, want to make sure they're going to get their money for at least usually 10 years. You're now at the point now where you can refund that for the savings you did that 10-year period, roughly 10-year period for each of them, and that's why we're here now.
Commissioners. Thoughts?
I do.
Well, great one to put that in motion.
I make a motion to authorize the issuance of Wayne County, Texas, limited tax refund bonds in order for, in one or more series, levying and ad valorem taxes on the bonds, approving the forms of paying agent registrar agreements, the forms of purchase agreements, and escrow agreements, establishing the procedures for selling and delivering one or more series of the bonds, and authorizing other matters related to the bonds.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Commissioner Rea, discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Ask one more question while we have you here. Thank you for coming. Sure. All the way through this. On our other year, this is an unfair question because I know you have a lot of clients, but on our other endeavors, for example, we mentioned indebtedness for projects that in the works. Are we or are we not required to use the money for things we said we'd use it for?
Yes, you're required to use what you said you use it for. Now, you may have some flexibility in how it's written. Because often we draft your orders.
But generally speaking,
You have to use it on those projects, definitely. If there's flexibility, you've got excess money, we can talk about some things. But if you said you're interested in money on something, you have to spend it on that, yes.
that takes us down to 14 in this early and this involves our opioid settlement and some developments. Commissioners, I will suggest to you, I don't know if there's really going to be a necessity for an executive session, but if any of you feel the necessity or this early thinks there might be, then we'll something, I'm fine with going into executive session, but it's kind of straightforward, so I'm not sure we need to.
Okay, one thing I did want to say, that the attorneys that we have contracted with to provide, will represent us in this matter and who can provide the legal advice and handle this case for us. we do trust their opinion and their recommendations, and they are recommending this settlement with regard to the opioid litigation. It is in line with what they were expecting to gain at this point with this one. Also, I looked at it, I know the judge has looked at it. I do think it is favorable to the county and it's in the best interest of the county. If there's other details that are needed, I can speak on behalf of that, and I know we do have a representative from Green Studies here.
Can I get you to introduce yourself,
Morning, Commissioner Birch.
please?
I'm an old prosecutor. I don't approach a bench without asking for permission. Greetings, and thank you so much for the introduction. My name is Jody Neal. I work at Simon Greenstone Panettiere. I live in Dallas, Texas with my 2 little girls. And I lost my mother to prescription drug abuse and alcohol in 2010. This is a very personal litigation to me. I'm so pleased to be here with you this morning. It's a beautiful courthouse in the birthplace of Lyndon B. Johnson to share this great news. Basically, what's been going on for the past several years is I and my team have been going full speed ahead on the Dallas County case. We use that active trial setting to leverage the defendants to come to the table to settle. We've managed to advance the case ahead of New York, ahead of California, ahead of many other states who are litigating this opioid subject matter. And us, along with the Attorney General, have come to some really favorable settlements for the state of Texas and for Blanco County. I heard earlier when someone speak about fentanyl, and that caught my attention. The settlement couldn't be happening at a better time. We're seeing across the country very serious infiltration of fentanyl into the recreational drug supply, fake pills, and people are really dropping dead left and right. Opioid naive people cannot handle fentanyl, and hopefully these settlements are going to be used to treat the problems that we're having in real time. If you recall, these settlements are structured through the Texas term sheet to where the counties receive, the local counties receive 15%, the state receives 15%, and then 70% goes to an abatement fund. You have in front of you a slideshow, which is actually attorney-client privilege. If we're going to discuss the matters contained in the slideshow, we probably do need to go into executive session. But on a broad overview, you see that Blanco County is receiving funds directly that have no strings attached. This is money that the county can use for whatever it is you need. Maybe you're road and bridge fund, or maybe you want to offset the cost of drug testing, from probation. That's money that you can use for whatever you want. I want to just highlight on that issue right there. We took great care, though the Dallas County case was our pressure point, we took great care in designing this model to account for our rural counties who don't have the population that Dallas has. And so the settlement formula is based on a few things, and I want you to know this. It's based on the mortality rate from the CDC using Wonder data. Basically, how many people have died from opioid-related causes. It's based on the shipments of opioids into the county, which is based on ARCOS data. That's DEA data that tracks the opioid from manufacturer to the pharmacy. And then it's also based on the opioid use disorder rate to the county. These are national figures. Most of our clients don't have figures like these at their disposal. It really requires pulling millions of records and studying them, like the Dallas case. We produced 2.3 million documents, about 20 million pages. We pulled every autopsy going back to 1990. It took my team almost 2 years to scan them all in. We pulled every indictment, every probable cause affidavit we could possibly find so that we could get a really good handle on how opioids have affected Texans. The settlement is exciting for a few reasons. First of all, I mean, just to have any drug company acknowledge that they're at fault for something is shocking. Drug companies do not take responsibility for their conduct generally, and we really had to fight for this money. And The next thing is that you might recall there was a big settlement, a big national settlement, roughly $26 billion. Well, that settlement is proceeding, but it wouldn't have without Texas. The settlement needed to have Texas's buy-in. Well, at the time, the settlement was contingent upon all the states in the country signing on to it. But because we had a trial setting in Texas, we were able to get our money as a carve out. So our settlement is guaranteed, and it's not contingent upon what Washington does, or Oregon, or Maryland, or anywhere else. This is Texas's money that's coming to Texas. And the next best part about it is that it's managed by our Texas judge. You know that there's a federal litigation, and then we have our own state litigation. And we all wanted our judge in Houston, who's familiar with the problems that face Texans, Longo County, Dallas County, Kendall, all of our clients, to administer the funds. It's not going to Ohio to be sent to Texas. It's coming to Texas to be sent to Texans. The Endo settlement's exciting. Endo's paying more to Texas than they did to Appalachia. Most people believe that the opioid epidemic is only in West Virginia and Tennessee, and that's not the case. Just in Dallas County, just between the years of 2006 and 2014, just hydrocodone and oxycodone pills, which are only two types of opioids, 606 million dosage units, pills were shipped into the county. It's a shocking number. So the point of me telling you that is that it's a big deal that we were able to recover for Texas on an epidemic that all the people know exists, I think is less than Appalachia. The next exciting point about the settlement is Teva. Teva's paying $50 million in the first year. I believe the funds are coming in as soon as all the settlements are approved. The Endo money is already in a qualified settlement fund. The Johnson & Johnson money is already in Texas. The Teva settlement comes along with $75 million in Narcan. What is Narcan? It's an overdose reversal drug. And all your first responders need it. Why? Because what if they go into a building to do a bust and someone has fentanyl? And it only takes a grain or two of fentanyl to cause someone to have an overdose. There could be people who are overdosing all over the place, and Narcan is a very low-risk way to reverse that overdose. And the Teva settlement comes with $75 million in product. Now, that's going to be managed by the state. And it's important that you know that we worked alongside with the Attorney General to make these settlements happen. We partnered with them on the term sheet, we partnered with them in these settlements, and we couldn't have done it without them. We have a lot of thanks to our partners in the Attorney General's office. And then the final settlement, which is the one I'm most excited about, is the Big Three. In the Dallas County case, my role was not only to defend Dallas County against attacks from the defendants, but it was also to prosecute the distributors. We worked on a great distributor case. We were all about their supply chain. We fought for entry into their distribution centers. We toured them in Oklahoma City and in Bruno. We really worked that case nicely. I'm so proud to bring, $1.167 billion into Texas to our work. The total amount of direct funds that are coming to Longo County is roughly $60,000. That's your direct share, no strings attached, and that's only from these three settlements, these 6 amendments. Another thing that's important that I want you to know, you recall when you first signed on to this litigation, it was largely in response to the tobacco litigation. Everyone realized, we have a problem of some kind. The defendants are responsible for it, but we want the money to be used for the people that need it. We want this money to be used properly, not, being just consumed by the state, used on roads or whatever it is that happen in tobacco. And that's exactly what's happening here. 70% of the settlement proceeds are going to an abatement fund, and that fund is overseen by the Texas Comptroller through an opioid council. And you'll be able to apply for that money.
When you're done, I want to talk about that.
Yes, sir. And the counties that are part of Region 8, This is different from your healthcare region, your dishes. This is an opioid region. For all the counties around here. And that money is gonna be 25 million to 32 million. Just from these 3 settlements. Now, if you add all the settlements up, including the Johnson & Johnson settlement, that's bringing roughly $70,000 in new streams attached money to Blanco County. And then an additional 32 million to 38 million of Region 8 abatement funds. And I'm sure your county attorney will have other ideas for how these funds can be used. One of the most incredible things, and I can't take any credit for this goes to the leadership in the POC. They figured out a way for the defendants to pay the attorney fees. We really never wanted to come back to the counties and ask for attorney fees. We saw that as an aggressive tax on the clients. It's the clients who are having to provide indigent health care, resources for law enforcement, drug and alcohol treatment, through the criminal court system. And we really didn't want to have to come back to the clients. And I've never seen this before in my life. The defendants are paying the attorney's fees. And make no mistake about it, this case was a Herculean effort. We had 50 firms working on this case. I personally worked on it nonstop for 3 years. This is all I do for a living. And the cost of the database, the experts, the defendants are paying those expenses too. So I'm really pleased to share that with you. As your county attorney said, we're recommending that the county accept the settlements. This is a total of $1.8 million that we were able to bring into Texas as a result of our litigation. We couldn't have done it without you. It's because you chose to litigate that we were able to make this happen. We had a critical mass of counties being managed in Texas by a Texas judge. We had an active trial setting, and that's how we were able to bring major drug companies to take some responsibility for their actions. And I want to thank you so much for having me here, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
So Region 8 is the region Blanco County is in, and it's much counties around us.
Correct. I can pull up my laptop if you want to know exactly.
And so I'm looking at kind of 4 key people, and we're looking at the constable, there's a lot of programs going on, the sheriff, our chief medical director, emergency medical director, and our emergency management coordinator is also a commissioner. $71,000 is really nice, it'd be great, is nice. But the 32 to 38 million that's in that Region 8, that's up for grabs if somebody can put together a program and that's meritorious and apply for it, right?
Absolutely.
So there's money there.
Absolutely.
That Blanco County should probably go after.
Yes, and I'm glad that all these professionals are in the room. Now, understand that a lot of the details about how the council's gonna work are still being hammered out. We gotta strike all the irons hot on the settlements and then kind of figure some other things out on as the process moves along. There is already an opioid council. Everything that I've heard about access to these funds from the leadership is that the council wants the counties to use the money. The idea is not that the money just sits there forever, though it will be earning interest. And there's no expiration date to when it needs to be used by. I mean, my belief is that this fund will outlive me.
But regardless of who's in Region 8, no matter how big a county they are, county or small county they are, we can go and ask for whatever part of that money we want.
Yes.
It's not proportionate.
No, it's not proportionate. It's a great question, obviously your sheriff's probably gonna want some Narcan too. Maybe your sheriff wants a detox tank in the jail, where they can monitor a defendant who is showing withdrawal symptoms to make sure that they don't die from withdrawal, which can easily happen in opioids. Maybe your district attorney wants a special drug court. Maybe your probation officers want better urinalysis testing, which is a lot more expensive than their basic urinalysis testing. Maybe you have, the cost of autopsies that you want to offset. There's stuff in your general fund that you're already paying for. maybe you want to offset some of your programs by applying to the opioid council for those funds. I would encourage the counties to be creative. Naturally, as your lawyer, I'm prepared to stand with you every step of the way. To the extent that I can help, I would love to have that honor and privilege.
Anyone feel the need for an executive session, or do you have any questions? Anybody have any motions concerning authorizing me to execute the order?
I'd like to make a motion authorizing the county judge to execute order regarding settlement offers in the matter of the Kings opioid multi-district litigation for the county in the matter of County of Blanket versus Purdue Pharma Inc. MDL pretrial cause number 2018-635-87 in the 152nd District Court of Harris County, Texas. Removed to MDL 2804 in
Northern District.
Northern District of Ohio.
Is there a second? Second. Mr. Greenberg, discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you so much for all your hard work.
Thank you.
It's a lot of work, and actually it's a lot of work, I think, on behalf of the folks downstairs at the district clerk's office, maybe the county clerk, maybe all the clerk's offices. Gathering what you needed to very good things.
Indeed, and they're very IT.
And yes, and that's it.
Very important. Thank you so much for the honor of being able to really, I'm so proud of you this morning.
Where did you come?
I was in Collin County.
Just one more thing, sending you back to Dallas, a little tidbit, you get a sore spot because we learned we're not the birthplace of President Johnson. We're his boyhood home. Unfortunately for us, in terms of getting a hotel tax, he was born across the county line in Cabinet, West County. On the ranch.
Wow. Well, I guess I do need to get that Colorado book, his autobiography, to get all the details. It's on my Audible. It's good on the way there.
You moved here as well.
Well, of course, look at this place. It's fabulous. Thank you.
All right, taking us, I think, to item 17, cybersecurity training.
Make a motion to authorize the county judge to enroll all elected officials and employees in the tax no cost annual cybersecurity training course.
Is there a second?
Oh, okay.
Is there discussion? No cost part?
At no cost, well, that was, yeah.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Item 18, updated agreement with Verizon for the sheriff's office.
I would reconsider authorization for the county judge to sign that updated agreement between Verizon and Blanket.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Reimbursement for SANG training. Ms. Jackson. I am proposing that we reimburse Ms. Jackson and Ms. Bradford for their expenses. They're still in the process, and she'll tell us about it, of getting the same program underway. I know we don't quite match up, because I have 926, 26. You have 1,040 something.
It was 407, 12 cents is what each one of us.
$407.
$100.07.
And yeah, but that was going to be different than mileage.
Yes.
Figure it out. I don't know what the 926, 26 is. And I'm proposing that if you agree to pay it, pay it out of the, there's a number of places that really could come out of that are indigent, defense, our indigent medical funds are sufficient to cover it and qualify and probably the appropriate place to put it, and pay that for now. think during the next budgeting process, we want to include a same verse, line, maybe under the verse or something. I'm sure. We'll get there down the line. For now, what's on the list to do?
So, Marcella and I, and Marcella's the nurse at the school, we are taking sexual assault nurse examiner courses. And I have taken an adult 2 years ago, she has taken an adult, and have completed the children's to be able to do child abuse and sexual assault. So what we're trying to get certified in is to be able to do rape cases, abuse cases, assault cases here in the county instead of having them shipped to either San Antonio or Austin or into Georgetown. And that way our patients won't have to go so far. But to do that, we're having to pay a lot of it out of our pocket to get it done. And even though we have the class time, we have to do so much at the hospitals, clinicals, to be able to be certified and apply to return to be able to provide the care in the community for our patients and stuff. So what we took this past week was an adult simulation class for adult sexual assault nurses. You have to have 8 pelvics and 8 acute exams and things like that. And so the adult simulation class gave us all of our requirements for pelvics and 2 simulations, so we'll need 6 more, and then we'll need more time. And so once we get all that, we will be certified to be able to start hopefully working towards offering our services here for the county for our rape victims. So now to that, we're working towards the child sexual assault, so we'll be able to do children.
You'll run the CRC.
That's where I will be hosting, is my understanding, in that office, as well. We have, we texted in, we're at Texas Costa, Texas A&M. They work with rural counties on how to set up sexual assault cases. We made a ton of contacts, and all those ladies are going to help our county because it's such a rural area, and there are no nurses in this area at all, this service area. That includes Burnet, San Saba, I think Leslie doesn't have any, like O'Donnell doesn't have any. So we serve a bigger area, just like county.
So the way I calculated it, we would be asking the commissioners for $371.87 per year, and $370.80 for this bracket plus $182.52 for mileage.
Okay.
No, just from Ms. Bradley, she's the one that transported to it.
Right.
Which is a total.
$926.26.
So I make a motion to approve reimbursement for same training for Anjanette Jackson and Zella Rafferty in the amount of $926.26 to come out of the Indigent Health Care Fund.
Is there a second?
I'll say.
Discussion.
So once this program gets going, is that what some of these fentanyl funds can be used for something just like this?
First of all, thank you for approving this. I did child abuse cases in the DA's office, and the sexual assault nurses and interns were very powerful witnesses in these cases. You were doing very important work. And I would suspect that if that's a factor in the fact pattern, perhaps, you know, because maybe a kid was in a drug house, maybe.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Number 20, proposed constitutional amendment.
I'll make a motion to approve the special election and establishing the main and early polling sites for schedule for the May 7th special constitutional amendment election pursuant to Chapter 85 TEC of the notice to consolidate precincts 303 and 302.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Granberg, discussion. This is the, so the reason it's not talking about the runoffs for, I guess, Ms. Coxberry, Mr. Berry, or the folks down in precinct 4, those are party
two separate elections.
I'm sorry,
It's two separate elections.
2 separate days?
Yes, so this is the constitutional election, May 7th. We'll have a runoff May 24th.
Well, that's too bad.
Yeah, no kidding,
It's a double experience.
no kidding.
That's sad. And there's no way to fix that.
No.
There's no way for us to fix that. The state would have to fix that.
Correct.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. And then both Mr. Greenberg and Mr. Eager have completed some.
I'll make a motion to acknowledge the continuing education for Commissioner Eager and Graham.
Is there a second? Mr. Eager, discussion, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 2. Item the bid of precinct paving, I believe, unless you know something different, we have one bid. What does it say on the front?
Says, our total transport, LLC, Main Road, County Road 207 bid.
I didn't do this, that White County address.
What I have here is bid, and it has one part that he added to it, was
Mill and replace, which was originally in his bid, but he separated it from the rest of the bid. And the total bid, well, milling comes to $28,444.16. Total bid is $72,444.14.
This is the contract.
And the contractor is LCR Transport. And I'm satisfied with that bid. It's where I figured it coming in at, so I'll make a motion to accept it.
Is there required to sheets paper?
same thing, it's just a copy.
Okay, then I can hand one over here. Did you make a motion to accept it?
What's the total?
72,44,14.
Is there a second? 72.
444.
I'm sorry, did you second? Second. Commissioner Weir seconds, discussion, is this within the budget?
Yes, sir.
Anything else?
Is this part of the replacement from the Kinder Morgan?
Yes, it come out of the Ken Martin Fund.
So you're gonna have a little left over in Kinder Morgan even after this.
What's that?
You'll have a little left over in Kinder Morgan even after this.
Yes, sir.
That you might be able to share.
I'm here to use every penny.
Just checking. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Item 23, a variance request in order to sell some property.
Correct. This little piece of property here is, there's one seller, that's trying to sell 6 lots to adjoining owners to create a buffer, on their lots, just for space. In here, there's a variant, or there's a, restrictions that they're not to drill any wells, they're not to build any everything is to stay the same as it is. this can never be resold. So, and with the variance, we requested that they did, in order to create a variance, it was a letter from the Crystal Mountain Homeowners Association approving the addition of the boundaries of the subdivision and authorizing for each parcel to add into their respective lot. Each parcel owner submits and goes through the procedure of replatting their respective lot through the Commissioner's Court. So, in order for them to purchase the property and come to the court to do a replat, they have to have this variance in place. So, I'd like to make a motion to authorize a variance for the Ed Evelyn to sell a section of his property to 6 individual homeowners in the Crystal Mountain subdivision.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Discussion. So,
They're gonna come in individually.
Well, we did mention to them that if they did it all together, we could run it all in the newspaper together and it would save them a little money. However, that's not required. So if they do come in separately, then they'll all be charged for appropriate fees.
so in the packet, there's a diagram.
Okay?
And, I'm gonna, just for example, start with, the people that own lot 37.
Okay?
And Mr. Evelyn would sell them a couple more acres, almost 3 more acres. And so lot 37 would be replatted to be lot 37, or whatever you call it.
Lot 37.
And it would just be one big lot with the additional 3 acres, right?
Correct. And I've talked to the appraisal district in there in favor of that.
Now, on lots 38 through 41, how's that gonna work, because it's only 3, there's 4.
So 39, lot 39, did not propose to, add on to his piece of property, so 40 is when we purchase lot, the lot that's gonna add on to 40 will be added into that. So it will kind of go behind lot 39.
Okay, so, but what about the lot 40? Okay, so we've got part of the 5.9 acres, and part of, and all of the 4.82 acres?
So I think lot 40 will pick up the 4.82, and then lot 41 will pick up the 5.1.
Okay, so both are there. And everybody's happy with that?
Correct.
So as there's always discussions about variance, and good idea or bad idea. This one seems about as innocuous as the variance.
Well, if we did not do this, then it would require that they do water availability and things of that nature, which would force them to drill the wells on this pieces of property that we really don't want wells drilled on anyway. So that's another reason for do this variance.
Are they, the 37 through 44, they're existing home sites people are living in?
Correct.
So, okay, so if they weren't, and those, let's say 41 didn't have a house on them, and they bought the 509 and merged that into 41, well, they could drill it over there, right? Because it would become part of that 41 at ABC or whatever.
No, because according to the deed restrictions, they can't drill a well out there on that back section.
In the back section.
All right.
From the existing.
Wherever it
I
goes.
got you. Okay.
So it's really like a buffer, just to create a retail. And again, so as variances go, this is, sometimes there are issues. This requires as few issues as it possibly could be,
That's what we anticipate.
which is probably a good one. Anything else? All in favor, say aye. Opposed, motion carries. Item 23, 4 is a program discussion.
The remain is still in place until March 22nd, correct?
Yes. And I think I've asked Connie, I'm going to work on something. I think I'm going to be bringing to you all a new order to be used in the future, because sometimes when we have discussions about the program, I go away to create the actual order. Not 100% sure what it is we decided was approved. So I'm putting together an order that has kind of a menu of choices. For example, the idea that barbecue restaurants can still be barbecue restaurants, those kinds of things. So in the future, when we have program discussions, I'll probably be asking you, do you want to do this and do you want to do that? Because we check boxes. That said, I guess we move on to item 25.
Make a motion to adjourn.
For a second.